I'm ready. Test, test, test. Hello, hello. Test, test. Hello. Hello, hello.
Go ahead.
Testing, testing, testing. Hello, hello.
Yep, you're good.
All right, I'm ready.
Here we go. It's time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents, not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Good morning, everyone. Brand new show this week. All kind of stuff going on fresh off an airplane. As I tell Rick, I just landed late last night, about 1 a.m. and had a great week. Actually, was in Palm Beach. Hung out with Sean Hannity. I got some insight about what he thinks about what's going on. It's pretty powerful. He gave like a little talk for a little while, and I just talked about what he thought. He's obviously very well versed in real estate, owns multiple properties in like every state from almost New York City all the way down to Florida. But anyways, we'll talk about that, kind of what his thoughts were, what the insight is in the marketplace. Had a mastermind too, also down in Florida while I was there, with one, I'd say top 60 or 70 of the top 100 teams in the country, who all do very high operating, level. And just they're seeing some things cross country. You're seeing a lot of patterns. And one thing I noticed being there a couple of days is just noticing the patterns of what's happening in current marketplaces. Some are doing really well, particularly Rust Belt area. Some are struggling, particularly second home type markets, and even parts of California, Texas, things like that. So we'll talk about kind of what that looks like, what's going on that with that part, recap the meeting and stuff with Sean, what that was. Overall, we got the micro market data in fresh off the books from last month. It was actually very good. And I think that's kind of a little bit misleading because that's coming off the heels when rates hit a multi-year low at 5.99. Since then, it's been up. Inflation's been up. And so it's been a little bit of a slowdown in the real estate market here locally and also other places. So we'll talk about that, break those numbers down, break that data down, what's going on. And also, even this morning, a brand new article came out that just showed you're finally starting to see prices decline in 33 of the top metropolitan areas year over year. And so it's the first time it's happened, I think, all the way back. I'll go back to the previous data, read it to you. It was very interesting. This shows we're finally starting to see that. If you remember here, one of the first people first started talking about that, because I could just feel it. I track all the numbers every day, and I can see it happening here, see it in other areas, and I watch just a lot of data online. So we'll break into that, what that means. And one thing I mentioned last week is just why I think this is the most pivotal, most important spring market in over a decade, just because there's opportunity for sellers right now to get maximum equity, to be able to cash out before you start to see a decline. And even a lot of economists are saying, hey, look, with the stuff inflation, with the war issues, right, that's going to drag on for a few months. If you look at some of the data, I'll read some of that to you, how that's going to drag on a little bit into the summertime, and we'll probably see maybe a potential decline in prices here. So we'll break all that down, what that means, what you can do to get your property sold in this spring market, what that means. One good thing that we've been doing, our team's been still pushing hard with our investment fund. We bought another 2 properties this week, both a condo and a single family. I'll read that, kind of where it is, what the situation was. One's great shape. Person just wants to get out and not mess with it anymore. Want to take a few things only and be done with it, live out of town. And the other one was one that was potentially a foreclosure. I just wanted to get out, get a certain amount of money, came in, bought that, stress-free, easy, and was a win-win for both. So make sure to stay tuned. Lots of great stuff. Do the same thing we do every week for the past 15 plus years in the station. Just keep you updated with everything real estate related. My goal is to help keep you educated on the data, what's happening, so you can have a pulse of what's happening to make better decisions with your largest assets, which is real estate. And also, if you want to come back and watch these shows, we stream them live on Facebook. Follow me on Facebook at Blake Sloan. We stream at Sloan Realty Group, but also on YouTube. Just type in Blake Sloan Radio Show. But make sure to stay tuned. Lots of great stuff today.
For any new listeners, just to give you an update on just who Blake is, it's an amazing story. Industry leaders have dubbed him the real estate whiz kid. Been featured in Forbes, Wall Street Journal, NBC, Realtor Magazine, and many other national publications. He has been personally endorsed by Sean Hannity and Glenn Beck. One of those by itself is an accomplishment, but all of them together is unprecedented. Last week, we learned a little about how you and your team work and how a good portion of your success has come from the trademark systems you have developed to help both buyers and sellers here in our market. Recap quickly for anyone new to the show what those are exactly and a quick overview of how they work, Blake.
Yes, Rick. And again, it's the whole reason to the show. And I just was laughing about this morning. So I was prepping for the show, had a lead come in, and they requested something. They had one question, the same question I get all the time, and the only question I get to list houses. It's why I share the show. It's why I do it. And it really comes down to the biggest mistake that homeowners make. And I see every single day. And I made a promise. I'm gonna keep talking about this every single week until it don't have to, so it does not happen again, but it still happens. It happened this morning as I was prepping for the show. And what's the problem? The problem is that everyone makes this mistake of thinking that all real estate agents are the same. They look at agents as a commodity, which could not be any further from truth, right? Just like it's like looking at them as corn, right? So if I'm buying corn, what I want, just the cheapest corn, right? Who can give me the best price on corn or rice or whatever it is, ideally. And so you can't look at it like that when you're talking about a human in the service industry. It's like a doctor or lawyer, right? If I'm charged with a crime I didn't commit, the last thing I want is a part-time attorney. The last thing I want is the cheapest attorney, right? And my first question to the attorney is probably not going to be, hey, how cheap can you go? What's your charge? Right? I want to know, hey, what's your experience? What type of law do you practice in? What's your years in the courtroom? What's your case history look like? What's your win rate look like? Those are the things that I really want to dig into. Same thing with doctor, right? If I have an illness that's life-threatening, and the last thing I want to go down to the doctor in a box, on like 10th Avenue or whatever it is. It's like, I want the absolute best doctor who specializes in that type of medicine, who can help save my life, because it's such a big difference. And that is a life or death decision based on the human who has to make or break the decisions that will make or break the outcome that you need, right? And so when it comes to real estate, guess what? It's the same exact thing there. Why? It's a service-based business, meaning how well the human executes determines the outcome. But also, there's two other major factors that are a problem. Number one, it has a very long sales cycle. So, for example, when you're selling a property, there's 118 different variables from A to Z. Each one's handled correctly. Guess what? It saves you money. You sell property, get it sold for the most amount of money. Anything's handled incorrectly, aka the agent drops the ball at any point, then that costs you your hard-earned equity. And the reality is that property does not get sold for the most amount of money. And so that's the other part of it, right? And also it's a high ticket item, which means it has a lot of emotion. So when people try to do it themselves, they tend to oversell, which tends to put you at a disadvantage in negotiation. Also, there's just a bunch of emotions that will make or break the home sale too, based on who's there to advise you to make those right decisions at the right time. And so the one thing I share on the show every week is say, look, the most important decision anyone makes is the agent you choose. That's the number one thing that determines success or failure as a home seller and also the home buyer is the agent you choose. And the reason that is when you sell a property, it's 118 different variables. And if each one's correct, like I said, you have to have a process to manage that. And most agents do not. They simply do the 3 Ps. They promise the world to get a listing. Number 2, they put it to MLS. And 3, they pray someone brings a buyer. Meanwhile, they're down the street trying to get the next listing because they're just trying to survive overall. And so with that, what I did is there's got to be a better way to do that. We went in, reverse engineered the exact process to create maximum leverage every single point. So point 1, we'll create maximum leverage. Point 2, maximum leverage. We back that up with 2 main things. Number 1, a large team of people, 30 plus people who are all specialists in what they do. If you look at most agents, they're a generalist doing everything. And if you're a generalist, you're not going to master anything at a high level. They're just trying to get the squeaky wheel, right? And so we have also a large team and also technology that manages and measures everything through that process to create maximum leverage and make sure nothing slips through the cracks. And so one of the examples there could be anything like pricing strategy, what data, opportunities, things like that. The average agent marketplace sells 3.6 homes per year. You take that 1 home per quarter, there's not a whole lot of knowledge to really pick and know the feel of the market, not a whole lot of expertise in how to pick pricing strategies. Yeah, you may save a little money on the commission, but you just cost yourself 30 grand because you don't know what the heck they're doing and they haven't sold a house in 3 months, right? Like it's one of those things like you have to understand the nuance of this. And so back to the story, this morning I get a submission and the only thing in there is a name, address, and I had a question, and the question for the memo just said, what percentage do you charge? Right? So like, that's the wrong question. That's the problem. Her name is Carol. I just pull it right here. Submit it on here and I'll read exactly what she said. Message from the seller. What is the percentage you charge to sell a home? Like that's the wrong question, right? Because if I buy or sell anything based on going with the cheapest, what's the outcome going to be? A terrible outcome. Like I say this all the time. It's the best way to really break it down. If I want to get a BMW and I call around Myrtle Beach and get the cheapest BMW, what am I going to get? I'm going to get a lemon. If I get charged with a crime I did not commit that has potential jail time, if I call every attorney in Myrtle Beach, go to the cheapest attorney, guess what I'm getting? Jail, right? If I want batteries for my kids' toys and I go get the cheapest batteries, guess what I'm getting? Toys that don't work. So why in the heck would you ever pick the person who sells your largest asset by just getting the cheapest, right? I'm not saying you need to pay the most, but it's the wrong question to ask, right? I want to say, for example, the attorney thing, I want to ask, like, hey, what's your background like? What's your specialty like? What type of cases have you taken? Those are the right questions. And then if that person seems to be a potential value, then I ask the how much do you charge question, right? But if I lead with that one, it just shows that most consumers just don't understand that process. And the goal of this show is to help teach people that because it is your largest asset. And the last thing you want to do, if you ask better questions, you get much better outcomes. And so the last thing you want to do, right, is ask the wrong question, get the wrong outcome, which costs you your hard-earned equity. And so what I did to help that out, I designed this thing called the Guaranteed Sold System, the only proven system that sells homes twice as fast and for 20% more money than traditional methods. And it works amazing. It uses that technology and people to manage all those variables proactively to give you, the client, the maximum competitive advantage in the process. And so creates a small gap at all those points. At the end, it creates a massive gap between you and everyone else, allows us to sell a property faster and for a whole lot more money. On the buyer side, guess what? 100 plus variables when you're buying. Each one's handled correctly. It saves you money. You get the property you want. Anything's handled incorrectly, you miss out or pay too much. So I designed this thing there to help out. That's proven repeatable, called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System. Gives you priority access to foreclosure, distress deals, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation purchase price, as well as home inspection to get you that closing table successfully to get you the most money in your pocket when you're buying at the end, right? And so if you want to know more how they work, guess what I did? Create a detailed, amazing documentary you can watch that really pulls back the curtains of the industry. It really kind of exposes a lot of like what happens, what works. It answers a lot of those questions I was telling you of like what to ask. And it really just shows how most things work, just backs up by data. And it's not just about us, it's about the industry as a whole and how to make better decisions in what you do. And so if you're ever thinking about buying or selling, I want you to do yourself a favor, go right now. Watch it, bookmark it, go to blakesloan.com. There's a detailed documentary on there. It's about 28 minutes, I think, 30 minutes, and it gives you step-by-step how to make good decisions, how to pick an agent. And regardless of any area you're in, it really helps go back and give you exactly what to ask, what to do, and it's there for you right now. So check it out. Take a quick break right back here in a second.
Sean Hannity here with the only real estate agent in your market that I recommend, Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. Now, thanks for joining me today. You know, a lot of people may be thinking about selling their home, but they want to make sure they're getting the most money possible. What options do you have available to make selling a home easier?
Hey, Sean, we have 3 unique, innovative options for home sellers right now. First, we have a program for maximum convenience, where I represent a large investment fund with millions of dollars looking to buy homes at a fair price in the Myrtle Beach Grand Trenton area. Or we have a program for maximum speed, where I can match your property up with one of our 100,000 plus active home buyers looking to buy properties here on the Grand Strand. Or 3, maximum value. We have a proven system that'll sell your home twice as fast and for 5 to 15% more money than traditional methods.
All right, thanks for keeping us up to date. Call the agent that creates the most demand. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corbin. I'm excited to connect with Blake Sloan, the only real estate agent in Myrtle Beach that I recommend. You offer several options for home sales, which really takes away the stress.
That's right. For sellers in a time crunch, we can agree to sell it by a certain date, take cash for your home, or even rent it.
That's great. And if the seller has a bid for it,
We use our proven marketing plan to sell it for the highest price.
work with my friend Blake Sloan and get your home sold on good terms.
Welcome back, Blake Sloan, Real Estate Show. Yeah, big shout out to Sean Hannity there. Just kind of give you an update on that. I spent some time last week in Palm Beach, and it was awesome. And it's a beautiful place. Been there a few times before for a couple conferences. I'm a big Tony Robbins guy. He lives there in a place called Manalapan, which is like a Ritz-Carlton neighborhood. Amazing area. I was just showing Rick some $100+ million houses there, but it's unbelievable, that area. But met with him, and he was just talking about, he was actually pretty optimistic. And I was kind of been a little bit pessimistic lately about kind of things are happening, but he was actually at the White House recently, was Air Force One recently, and was telling us a few stories about some things happening behind the scenes that hopefully should help both the economy, both should help the real estate industry in the long term. And he was actually more bullish than I thought I was expecting. And he really kind of backed it up, and he backed it up with some great data, some conversations with the president in terms of what he thought and what he thought may happen with interest rates going forward. And some intel on the Iran stuff that, may not be, a lot of people may not know about. And it was interesting. So I was kind of felt a lot better after hearing that and seeing that. And he's super, super sharp in business. Like I said, on multi-families. I mentioned he used to have a lot in the stock market when he first started, and started getting into real estate, buying stuff, bought apartment buildings, commercial buildings, some single families, vacation stuff, things like that. And is constantly looking. They have a huge family office with an investment fund that's run by his son. and own multiple properties here in South Carolina, mostly in Charleston, not here in Myrtle Beach. I've been waiting for that for years. We were going back. Look back, we're doing business with Sean in this partnership that we have since 2011, early 2011. I thought it was 2009, but it was Glenn Beck in 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12. We were doing both of them at the same time. Glenn did his own stuff with the Mercury Network. And so we kind of pulled off that a little bit. I've been with Sean, been to his show in New York City multiple times, met with him there multiple times in New York City. So very, very appreciative of that relationship, very appreciative of that endorsement. And it's been very powerful for us and super cool to kind of keep that going overall. So if you want to check it out, picture me and him on Facebook, put in the Sloan Facebook as well. But lots of cool stuff. And I'll talk a little about some other people we met with down there, which is really, really cool. But looking at real estate market, really quick, brand new market update. It's actually been this past week. If you remember, the 12th to the 18th is the best week of the year for anybody to list and sell their property, which is true. And right now, if I look at what we call the front windshield numbers of like, hey, what's happening right now, real time? That's true. Right now, in the last 7 days, 545 properties under contract, 202,645,000, which is great. Last week's show was only 502 for 180 million. So that's a significant jump. You're talking $22 million increase in a 7-day period. And, really about 43 homes. And guess what? The big money is still coming in here. It's crazy. Just seeing these numbers, just in the last 7 days, 4.4 million under contract, 2.79 under contract, 2.4, 2.2, 2.1, 13 properties are $1 million under contract, and 90 properties over 500,000. So lots of big money still coming here. And just because back to something I'll talk about in a few minutes at the end of what you're seeing. There's some Rust Belt areas doing very, very well. Northeast is still doing very, very well in most cases. Just there's not much inventory. There's still a shortage of inventory. So many people, particularly baby boomers, are selling their properties up there. Massive equity, right? Coming down here, we're much lower cost of living, right? Market's a little bit softer, and they're buying those luxury properties and getting what they feel is a steal on it, right? So that's something I kind of mentioned there. But good news is, great week for it overall. I think you're going to see the numbers soften a little bit as rates have still been a little bit high. We're just capturing that. And it was so close, like a really, really amazing recovery when rates hit 5.99. Then obviously the bomb started dropping, and we saw inflation spike, things spike. That really shocked kind of the oil market, shocked the bond market, the 10-year treasury. So like kind of like really threw a wrench in mortgage rates, but it's come down a little bit, which we'll talk about in a minute. Right now, 6.32%. Last week's show was 6.38%. Week before that, 6.41. Week before that, 6.62. So it's come down slowly. We're not quite where we want. I think the mental block a lot of people have is you get down to that 6. Like when things are 5.99, it was rolling, right? People were really excited about it, moving back in and making moves. But now seems to be some concern with inflation. So we'll talk about that a little bit as well. Really quick, get into the last month's numbers and kind of what you're seeing out there. I'll recap quickly what you saw. And it was a great month. Again, that came off of low rates, February, kind of you saw that. And so you saw a huge spike. So sales last month for single family resale up 7%, which is great. But this rear view mirror thing, I remember anybody that closed last month. So for example, it closed in March, winter contract, really 36 days prior to that. So in February, March, those areas, and also parts of January, you saw it kind of go under contract, but a big jump. So for example, in February, there's only 362 properties that actually close. March, it jumped up to 491. So significant month-over-month increase, which is great. Sales price up 6% year over year. It is down though the last couple months. So median price peaked out in December at 405,000. Right now it's at 387. If you look at average sale price, it's up 3.3% year over year. But we have really 4 months in a row of decline. So average sale price peaked in December 555,000. Then in January 500, February 485. And then March 480. So you're seeing that decline there, which is, going along with what we're seeing, things softening. It's always supply and demand driven, and price is always a lagging indicator. And so that's something we'll keep, kind of watching overall as well. And that's one thing I noticed too, talking to people last week, just from top teams across the country. We have a lot of inventory, way more inventory than a lot of markets do in terms of like how many properties are on the market. Where if you look at just, single family, all construction types, and it doesn't, the new construction stuff, you're not really, their numbers aren't accurate. So for example, if there's 6 homes on MLS, really there's 12 because they don't put all the data in there. If you kind of look at what's going on, if you look at resale homes though, right at 5 months of inventory, which is almost at that buyer's market place, right, where things are at. But if you look at condos, they're at 8.7 months of inventory, which is a significant buyer's market, which is very, very high in terms of historic amounts of supply, what's out there, which means there's way more sellers than there are buyers for that product. And so that's kind of something we want to keep watching out for. If you like closed sales for condos, good news is it jumped up last month, 12.5%. Again, this is all off the heels of when rates came down. They crept down early February. Right, they hit that 5.99, and people really started jumping in, which really helped. Then things kind of cooled back off as the rates went back up and as the war started. And so you're going to see that my guess, you're going to see that decline a little bit. Thankfully, it happened, in the spring market versus like December, January. Things been really bad if that was the case. But the spring market, so many people have been just waiting and looking and stalking for months and months and months. They combined their vacation, their spring break trip, all that stuff with home search as well. So the average sale price for condos up 6.9% year over year, which is great. But month versus month, it's also up, which is great. The key, though, it did peak out in November at 293. Right now, it's 265. Looking at median price, it's been dropping really the past 4 months. It did go up the last month, which is helpful. But right now, 210,000 is down 3.6% from last year. But it peaked out in November. So November is 240. I'll go December 220, January 224, February a low at 200, and then back up to 210 in March. And so you've kind of seen that bounce around a little bit. But I think you're going to see that continue to soften just based on what we're seeing the rates, based on what we're happening. But the good news is it is time with the best time of the year to sell, which is the spring market, because that's when the most buyers come in. So if you're thinking about selling, here's what it means. This is my opinion. Been doing this business since January 2005, a third generation real estate agent. I've been putting out signs of my parents since I was 2 years old, and just have a feel for stuff, right? What things are going. I can feel some cracks in the housing market. You see other places, what's happening. Everything's just very unaffordable in terms of what happened. And this like mastermind group I was at, I had the most pain of any event I've been to. Like, you talk to agents, how are things going? Like, man, I don't know, this is tough, right? You're just seeing it across the board in terms of affordability, what things are doing, profit margins. You're seeing this in all business, certain things. So there's got to be some type of slowdown that's going to be part of that. So what that means is, if we know everything's getting unaffordable, right? People have less money. Look at Airbnb numbers here locally. They're down. Talk to anybody else that works at resorts. Numbers are down, right? Why? Because people have less money to travel, less money to spend. And so what's happening is you're going to see that lagging indicator ultimately be sales and then sales price. I want to tee this up right now when buyers are coming in town before prices start to decline, is that lag indicator. And so you want to take action earlier than later. So if you're thinking about selling an investment property, an inherited property, if you're moving up, right, moving down, whatever it is, you want to get maximum equity for yours. Here's the deal. Take advantage of this season, right? We're a very seasonal marketplace here in Myrtle Beach, and really tee your property up when everyone's coming in town to buy it, so you get the most amount of money before there is any potential decline in prices. And so if you want to go right now online, I'm more than happy to do a full detailed analysis for you. And just put your name information in blakesloan.com. There's an amazing tool we spend $3,500 plus a month on that gets you, it's like your own stock ticker for every property you own anywhere in the country. It gives you real-time data, your real-time equity. It knows your mortgage balance. It's crazy. It knows everything. Calculates it with AI real-time of exactly what your real-time equity is, the 3, 4, 5, 6 closest comps that's sold around where you're at, what your neighbors are selling for, what they're doing, what the trends are, and all that's updated in real time. It's cool. It's free. It's no hassle. You go do that, blakesloan.com. You can also click one button for a human valuation. You can also go on there, get an instant cash offer if you want through us, investment fund. It's an amazing tool for you, but definitely make sure you check it out. If I could take one thing, give advice wise, this spring is by far, I think, the most important spring home selling season that we're seeing in over a decade. And the one thing that's driving that has been inflation, mortgage rates, right? And also right now we're seeing that seasonality. It's a small window, in my opinion, that you can really cash out on top. And so if you want to chat about it, we're here hustling all day, every day, hustling today, tomorrow, all next week. Give me a call, 843-808-SOLD. I'm also taking on a few select clients, particularly my favorite clients are radio listeners who are, sharp. People have been there, obviously my past clients. We also have a full listing team, buyer team that's there, but I'm here to help answer any questions. More than happy to help talk with you too. Give me a call, 843-808-SOLD. I'll take a quick break right back here in a second.
One spot or two?
One. How long we got?
Probably about 5 minutes.
Yeah, one's fine.
Hey, WRNN listeners, Clay Travis here. As investors in real estate, Buck and I both know exactly what to look for to find the agent with the best tools and marketing to get the highest sales price possible for a home.
Totally true, Clay. And here in Myrtle Beach, that agent is our friend Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. If you need to sell a home and buy a new one, ask Blake about his guarantee.
Get this, Blake guarantees to sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, or he'll buy it himself. And since you know with your current home sell by,
Perfect, thank you.
how much you can buy your next home without worrying about getting stuck with 2 mortgages.
There's simply no other agent in the market who has a guarantee that will line up against what Blake Sloan can offer you. So when you're looking to sell and buy, he is your guy. Read nearly 750 five-star reviews by Googling Sloan Realty Group. Give Blake a call today and start packing. That's Sloan Realty Group.
And tune in to Blake's show Saturdays at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 11:30 a.m.
Welcome back, Blake Sloan Radio Show. Hot buyers are my team now working a ridiculous amount of home buyers. Look at properties here in the Myrtle Beach Grand Sprint area. Anywhere from $250,000 to $6.6 million. You remember that last couple weeks it jumped up. We have that buyer still looking for something here on the ocean front right now. Like I said, owns tons and tons of a large franchise that you're very, very familiar with. Former CCU athlete, and something that we have buyers from all over. Why is that? We also been the average agent 101 from a marketing standpoint. Right now, 82,918 active home buyers. Those are people looking to buy like right now. Right now, I got Mike from Berlin, Maryland. I got Jonathan Harding from Albany, New York. I got Nolnet, New York, Tappan, New York, a lot of Northeast, obviously, Stafford, Virginia, Selden, New York. These are all searching this very second online. Hillsborough, New Jersey. I got Roswell, Georgia. I got Cambridge, Massachusetts. Mattapoisett, Massachusetts, Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina, New Lenox, Illinois, Brooklyn, New York, Pittsburgh, PA. So buyers all over. We also been the agent, average agent 101 from a marketing standpoint. What does that matter? We make 14,000 phone calls a week. So if we have 14,000 phone calls a week, plus a large sales team, plus 82,000 buyers, or you got average Joe Schmo, the realtor who sells 4 homes a year, which one's gonna sell your property faster? Which one's going to give you more money? Which one's a better negotiator, right? That's the difference that makes or breaks the home sale. That you want to put maximum equity in your pocket, make sure you call me. Go ahead and put me in your phone right now as Blake Sloan sold, and we'll get the job done. We hustle hard. Super, super important overall. Really quick, awesome success story. Donna, she owned an amazing house in Myrtle Beach that she inherited. Super, very nice house. Did not want to move into it. Listed with a, quote, family friend after 6 months, had no offers, barely any action. After much frustration, she asked around, was told by a friend who's an awesome radio listener to call Blake Sloan. Thanks, she called us. We came in, identified the problem, which is marketing. I designed a custom plan, watched our Go Marketing Blitz, professional photos, virtual walkthrough, drove massive traffic, had under contract within 2 weeks for the same exact price, same exact money. She was absolutely blown away. Now she's able to move on to the next chapter with maximum equity. I want to get one thing. We got like 2 minutes, 1 minute, 3 minutes. Check this out. 2 big things. I'll cover this. March REO foreclosure filings, March 2026 national foreclosure filings up 18% month over month and up 28% year over year. And that's forgot to mention earlier. So don't track for 525,000 foreclosure filings for 2026 right now. That's just off the press right now. But here's the thing. This is a national article. U.S. house prices about to go negative for the first time in 33 consecutive months. Right? Most people and agents have no idea why it's happening. So mortgage rate 6.32. That's up from 5.99 just 6 weeks ago. Right? The Iran war started February 28th, changed everything overnight. And so buyers and sellers are moving. All of a sudden, the bombs dropped and the mortgage market panicked. And so now the Fed can't cut rates because inflation's up. Right? CPI has jumped 0.9% single month, largest month increase since June 2022. Right? Inflation annually is now adjusted 3.3% and climbing. Gas up $4.12 nationally. Bottom line is, if you're thinking about selling, reach out to me sooner rather than later. I think there's a great window right now for you to be able to get in, get the property listed, come in when buyers are coming in, and take advantage of the seasonality. One thing I've been taught since I was a kid, you make the hay while the sun shines. And so that's what we're seeing here in Myrtle Beach. Any questions you have, reach out, call us. We're working this weekend, 843. Anyway, so I got 1 minute left. Awesome. Here's another couple pieces of that, right? NAR, National Association of Realtors, just slashed your 2026 forecast from 14% sales growth down to 4%, potentially negative. New home sales, builder confidence fell to 34. Anything below 50 means builders are pessimistic. And I'm not trying to be negative. I share the data, right? We pride ourselves. One of our core values is I tell my clients what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. And I'm sharing that so that you can take advantage earlier rather than later, because it's one of those things that the ones that wait may leave a little bit of equity on the table. And so if you want an instant valuation, real-time equity, use the comps that you're seeing right now, because the last thing anyone ever wants to do is chase the market down. Hopefully just a small bump, right? Hopefully we can get interest rates back down, inflation get under control. But in the short term, I think the important part is to really take advantage of the spring market. If you want to do more, when we'll chat about it, I'll be here working all day, all weekend. Give me a call, 843-808-SOLD. We'll see you back here next week, same exact time.